Hello, everybody, and welcome to the entertainment headquarters, and welcome to another review. And the film I'm about to look at, for me, was a real nice, pleasant surprise. It's a film that I had seen a trailer for quite some time ago, and I knew it was released over in the good old US of A, I think either early March with time. And I was hoping it would get a theatrical release here in the UK, but unfortunately it didn't, for whatever reason, maybe because it didn't do well at the box office. It, hasn't been given the theatrical treatment here in the UK. It went straight to Amazon Prime. And the film I'm here to talk about is Ash, which for me so far has become my favourite horror film of the year. I haven't watched many horror films in 2025 because last year I was so disappointed with, the turnout for all of the horror films that were treated to by the likes of Blumhouse, and I just kind of lost interest. Early in the year, I did get to see Nosferatu, and then I did see the film that so far is definitely going to be in my top 10 of 2025 list, Sinners. That, yes, is a horror film, but it's a hell of a lot more than a horror film. But when it comes to Ash for me, the only way I can truly describe this film, it is the ultimate tribute movie. The ultimate tribute movie to classic, claustrophobic, psychological, gory, scary science fiction horror. There's elements of Alien. There's elements of Event Horizon. There's elements of Invasion of the Body Snatchers. There's elements of The Thing, all in one movie. And it's a pleasant surprise, but it does have some issues. So let's talk about it. Let's get into Ash 2025. So Ash is a 2025 American science fiction horror film directed by Flying Lotus and written by Johnny Remler. It stars Eiza González, Aaron Paul, Kate Elliott, and Beulah Cole. And it also stars Iko Uwais. I probably butchered his name wrong, but do apologise. When I see some names, I just can never pronounce them correct, so I do apologise. And it also has the Flying Lotus in the cast. Now, when it comes to the Flying Lotus, I've never seen any of his movies. I know that he's a record producer, rapper, singer. Now he's getting himself involved in filmmaking and now acting. And for me, for an rapper, singer turning into filmmaker who I've never heard of, this is my first kind of entry into him as a filmmaker. And what I can say, as I think he's done a fairly decent job, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he brings up next. So basically the premise of Ash is you have this young woman played by Eiza González, who plays Raya. So she plays Raya, and Raya wakes up and her entire crew of this space station on this planet that they're exploring have been completely murdered in grotesque, horrendous ways, and she has no recollection or memory. She's got like short-term amnesia. And then you have Aaron Paul's character, who is called Brian. He turns up to rescue her and help her, get off the planet, and basically explain to them the reasons of why they're on this planet. They were there exploring this planet, which has a different name, but while they were on the planet, they give it the nickname of Ash. Hence the name of the film, because there's ash fall all around them whenever they go outside, out of this space station. But then, of course, not everything is as it seems, because as the film progresses, she's now starting to see flashbacks of events that have been happening, and it becomes like a puzzle in, trying to figure out the true things that's happened. And can she really trust this Brian character Aaron Paul plays? And it becomes this psychological, really claustrophobic, very scary, very horrific science fiction horror film. And things are revealed throughout the plot. Like when they arrived on the planet, they thought they were there for a particular reason, just to explore it, to see if it could be potentially inhabitable for the people of Earth. And also another key part of the plot is that they have like a connection to a space station that only comes round every so many days. So once it comes round to the clock, to this them days, they can then contact this space station for supplies, for food, for help. And so all that's going on, and it just turns into this really intense, bloody, action-packed science fiction horror film that is, like I say, completely a tribute to likes of Events Horizon, Alien, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, and of course The Thing as well. The character of Raya, who is played brilliantly. She's played brilliant by Eiza González. I think she does a brilliant job of showing this woman who has no recollection of what's going on, what's happened, and she's trying to piece the puddles. She's trying to piece the puzzle together of the event that's happened and why all of our shipmates have unfortunately met their end. And this character here, played by Aaron Paul, is quite a mysterious character, this Brian. He claims he's there to help her. He's claimed, giving her, information, but is it the right information? Is he really there to help her? And these are members of our crew. And the one thing I noticed straight away when it came to the crew and your first introduction in like flashbacks when she's starting to remember things before they were murdered, is that they do this particular scene where they're sitting around like this, this canteen area, and straight away you got straight at aliens. It's definitely a film that's got so many influences and takes them all from films we all know and love. It's like it's love letter to past sci-fi horror films. And soon as you see them sitting around bonding around this canteen area, and you look at the character, and they look like the characters from Aliens, have got similarities to them, and they all die in really grotesque, horrible ways. And things happen to them that get out of control. The horror elements in this do not let up. the horror in this is truly frightening. There's one particular scene where Raya and Brian are in the main ship, and basically what happens is the oxygen's starting to deplete from the space station that they're in on the planet, and she has to go into the crawl spaces of the building and to get through to get to wherever this opening is to seal it, and it very much feels like a scene out of Alien, like how cramped it is, the darkness, the the intenseness you feel, the claustrophobicness you need, the atmosphere. It very much felt like it was out of Alien. And then as the film progresses, it turns from being an Alien tribute film to when you get the psychological elements of the flashbacks, and I imagine, her reminiscing and thinking, is this a flashback or is this something in my head? You see these horrific, horrible, grotesque images, and it reminds you of events arising. And then as it progresses even further, without spoilers, it turns into the thing. And it just goes, bangs to the wall. The final half hour of this film doesn't disappoint when it comes to action, gore, scares, thrills. Doesn't disappoint. The cinematography in this movie is, it's outstanding. I'll show you these images again, the colors, the shading, the lighting that they use, the cameras they've used, all of it just looks magnificent. In the world that they've built for this particular movie, it looks really well made. And quite frankly, it doesn't look cheap. It doesn't look cheap at all. It does look expensive, and the budget for this movie, I can't imagine, was too cheap. This is classed as an independent movie, I'm sure it is, but Shutter's behind it and other studios behind it, and I think it's money well spent. They definitely have spent the money on the right things to make this truly a great science fiction horror film. Shutter, I do know, has a reputation where the budget to their movies aren't always, the best, and you can tell they're not the best. But this is one of their rare films where the budget feels more like Hollywood A-list kind of movie. It definitely feels that way. I seen a film last year called Azrael, which was really well made, which is on Shutter. I think, is it another film that Shutter did that didn't feel cheap, was independent, and was a great movie, which I think made me top 10. Late Night with the Devil. That was another amazing film that ended up on Shutter. Now, this isn't Shutter in the US of A. It's on Amazon here in the UK. So budget's brilliant, the cast's brilliant, the story, without spoilers, is simple. It's basically this woman trying to figure out, her memories, and trying to figure out what happened to her crew. Can she trust Brian, and how the hell is she going to get out of it? As for the negatives, because it starts off with such a bang, with seeing flashbacks and her waking up and meeting Brian, the first, I would say, half an hour to 40 minutes, there's a lot of flashbacks, there's a lot of things that are slowly getting unraveled and explaining. But once you get past them first half an hour to potentially 40 minutes, once you get to this certain element of the film, it just goes boom, and it doesn't let up. There's not a single disappointment after that mark in this film. it turns into a full-fledged sci-fi horror, blood, guts, doesn't let up, doesn't disappoint, but it's if you have the patience to wait out to that point. I didn't know how I felt about that. Like, there were times I was sitting there thinking, oh, is anything out? You get a jump scare, then it gets to another point in the film, and then you get something else that interests you, and then boom, you get to that mark, and that's it. The film just takes off, and I appreciated that because I didn't have an issue with it, because for me personally, I appreciated it because I fully got to understood the story and developed kind of this relationship with this character who was in this unique situation and didn't know how she was going to get out of it, and didn't know what was happening, didn't know if she was, the culprit behind the murders. Uh, is Brian trustworthy? What the hell's went on? Why is there just blood and bloodshed all over this thing? So it's a real great, for me, mystery and psychological thriller, as well as a bloody, dark, creepy, gory science fiction horror film. I think Flying Lotus has done an excellent job with how he's directed this movie. I think he's really created potentially a cult classic. I really think this film needs looked at and given, the recognition, or at least given a fair opportunity, because I feel as if this film's been hard done by. I feel as if this film hasn't been given the promotion and given the advertisement that it truly deserved to give this film a good chance to succeed. And I think that's a crime, because you get a lot of these big Hollywood blockbuster films that just get thrown down your face and they're just no good. They just end up being a disappointment. Where this film, its only flaw for me is its pacing. Another film, like I say, the only other flaw I can think of when people watch this, they'll just think it's a rip-off of all the other sci-fi classics that I've talked about. But for me, it's well and truly cemented itself as a love letter and a tribute to them. And it's done in such a brilliant, excellently executed way. So I thoroughly have enjoyed this movie. They're me two negatives, but the rest of this is a positive for me. It was just a fun watch. It was everything that I like about these type of movies. If you can get to that mark where everything just goes boom and takes off like a rocket, you're not going to be disappointed. And another positive, every time I thought the movie was going to end, something else would happen. And then you think, oh, right, it can't get any crazier than that. It's come to an end. Then, boom, something else would happen. And then it would just keep building and building and getting crazier and crazier and kept going on and on. And I thought myself, well, what they're going to do next? But yes, that's another positive for this movie. So I thoroughly enjoyed it. But the two negatives, like I mentioned, the pacing might be slow for too many people. They might not be able to stick past the 30-minute mark. And people might not like the fact that it feels like a rip-off of some of the movies that I've mentioned. But that did not bother me because it actually helps to enhance the film itself, in my opinion. If I'm going to rate Ash, I'm going to rate it a solid 9 out of 10. I think it deserves a strong rating, and I definitely feel it deserves to be seen and heard. I don't think it's a film that needs to be locked away or just put straight on streaming. I think it's a film that should have had more promotion and given a bigger opportunity to shine. But that's just my opinion. But yes, like I say, full of great psychological, gory sci-fi horror. It's a love letter to films of the past of this type. Flying Lotus, I think he's definitely a director to watch in the future. I definitely see him doing bigger things. There's just something about him after seeing this that I've now got my eyes open to him. And as for Gia González, I think she did a fine job in this. Aaron Paul, sorry, I thought this was the only other thing I've seen him outside of Breaking Bad, and I thought he did a fine job as well. So a 9 out of 10 for Ash. If you haven't seen it, get yourself on Amazon Prime. It's free if you're a subscriber. If you've got Amazon Prime, if you're in the good old US of A, it's available on Shudder. Please check it out. It deserves the praise. It deserves to be recognised, and it deserves an opportunity to be talked about. So that's just my opinion of Ash. There's more things coming to the entertainment headquarters real soon. Please like, share, and subscribe to the entertainment headquarters. Let me know in the comments below if you've seen Ash and what you think of it, and is it the kind of film you enjoy? Because it definitely was for me when it comes to me sci-fi horror. But like I always say, keep on enjoying your movies, keep on enjoying all things entertainment, and I'll catch you all at the next one.